Welcome to another episode on our channel. You know, I'm into customizing. That seems to be my niche right now because it saves on money immensely. You can get characters that you really want as long as you know where to go to get the separate pieces to put them together or have them come away with a look that's close to what you want, if not exactly as you want. And some of the distributors that I go to that I have a lot of confidence in, Monkey Depot, Toy Anxiety, Rattlesnake Toys, Zipcause Attic, Black Ops Toys, those are all reputable companies where it can pretty much count on getting what I ordered. I've never had any problems with any of those companies. And there are a number of eBay suppliers that you can get loose items from that are very reputable as well. I just hate waiting for overseas items. That's very frustrating at times. But this is a prepackaged item. And there are several companies out there that I love doing business with, like Sideshow, Time Walker Toys, Big Bad Toys, Blitzway, Prime One Studio, although they're kind of pricey. There are other companies. I'll try to list not only 1/6 scale loose companies or distributors, as well as companies that sell complete figures. But this is one I've never bought anything from. It's called 1/6 Outfitters. And I saw this figure, good price, in stock, and they sent it right away, well packaged. It's in its original plastic cover, and it was packaged very well. I see no dings, no imperfections on the box. So I'm very pleased with this outcome. This is actually a Final Fantasy figure. I've never played the game, but typical me, when I see a figure I like, I don't care if I haven't played the game. If I like it and it's the right price, I'm going to get it. So I did get this one, Final Fantasy, Clive Rosfield. I thought it was Rosefield at first, but it looks like it's Rosfield. No E after R-O-S. So we'll pause and I'll get an X-Acto knife so I can open this baby up. We are back, and as my custom, I'm going to open the box from the bottom. But it doesn't look like there's tape here. I think it slips, the top just slips up off of the box. So we'll see what happens, but I think that's right. I just want to be careful in terms of how I cut this. One tiny piece came off. All right. Need to get started, I guess. The plastic out of the way. Whew. All right. So it took a bit to get the plastic off, but now I'm starting to notice some dings on the box. There's a little ding here in the front on both ends, maybe just a slight ripple there. On the side, there's a ding, couple dings. So let me show you the box. I've never gotten anything from Exclamation before, so this is my first figure from them. It's a simple design, and that symbol probably means something to the game. And it says, of course, Clive Rosfield. So that's the name of the figure. You can probably see, I don't know, maybe you can see some tiny, maybe not. But here you can start to see on this side here a ding, and then on the top you can see that, oops, indentation over here. Nothing in terms of artwork on the back or the sides. It's very plain. But I don't care if it saves me money. I've said that before. I don't care if it comes with a ton of things. As long as I have a couple accessories, I'm happy. And the figure looks good, I'm happy. So let's see how we get this open. It either slips off. No. It's probably magnetic. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of strange. So you see the indents here? Here and here? That's weird. I mean, that's bizarre. You got the foam cover, has that, especially with plastic over it. That must have been maybe it was a quality assurance issue when it was packaged at the factory. It's the only thing I can think of, because the plastic was sealed tightly around the figure, so it must have happened before it was sent out. So it has foam. Here's the figure. He weighs a ton. He's got armor on him. And the face looks awesome. This was around his neck. And it's soft. I don't think it goes with his outfit. It's soft and it's pink. I don't think that goes with him. Yeah. Let me just get everything out. He looks awesome though. Really awesome. And like I said, he weighs a ton. So let me get everything out. Let's pause. Let me get everything out, and then we'll show you what he comes with. We'll be right back. So we are back, and we've got everything out. There's not much here, which is okay by me as long as the figure is a little more economically priced. And what they do have is actually made out of metal. So he has this large sword. It's very heavy, and this goes on his back into a plastic sheath that's like this big. So it's not a form-fitting sheath. And here's a smaller sword that goes into a loop on his side. But again, it's metal. It's very substantial. Both of these weapons are very substantial. And they're very cool looking, actually. The stand is a mystery. I wasn't really expecting a stand, but I'm glad I got a stand. But then I looked at it, and here's a place. It's got a raised section right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's a place for a nameplate. You know, and you would think it would have Clive Rosfield on it, or at least something adhesive with the name on it that you could put on the nameplate. But I looked through the box, nothing's there. So it's kind of weird. You know, just a simple stand would have worked for me without a nameplate, but this has a nameplate, so that's strange to me. But I do like simple stands. I don't like them to have a lot of colors and textures and so forth and compete with the figure for your attention. So that part is good. What scared me is that when I looked at him more closely, is that he's got like a lower kind of thigh wrap here. And then he has two thigh wraps over here. And I went, uh-oh, they forgot a piece. Then I looked at other pictures of this figure, and thank God, it is as I see it here. One piece here and then two pieces here. So he's smartly dressed. I like his look. Interestingly, there are no additional hands. That's very unusual to get a figure with no additional hands. But he is made of armor, and he does weigh a ton. His cape is skinny, so that's kind of weird. But it's not, at least it's not like a shower curtain. It's soft to the touch, it's flexible, it has wiring on the side, so you can shape it a little bit, but it's very skinny. So that's the downside, but it's very soft, that's the upside. It has a hood, that's an upside. And there's his half sheath where the sword is supposed to go, the big one. And it has a couple of wraparounds with buckles on it to keep this thing in place. I don't know if you can see that. There it is. So the sword just goes in like this. So it looks pretty darn nice. And then the other sword goes into a loop on the side, it looks like. So there we go. So he is well armed with two swords, one large one and one regular sized one. All right. So we'll pause and let me get him into stance. Again, just mysteries, nameplate without a name, no additional hands. That's kind of strange. One side has two thigh metal pieces over the thigh, and one has one, but that's probably unique to the game and the character. And the cape is very, very skinny. So we'll pause. Let me get him into his stance, and then we'll get him on a turntable so you can see him more closely. Let's talk about the pros and cons to this figure. I think it's a pretty good head sculpt, even though it's slightly anime, it's not fully anime. So you still capture that human look, and I do think it's a pretty good head sculpt. He has a tattoo on the side of his face. I think it's awesome looking. And I love his dark hair and then the darkness of his outfit with the bright red vest. I think that's a good combination. And the armor that has kind of a worn look to it. I mean, it's not flat. I like that. But armor is going to make a figure harder to pose. And I have noticed that with him. The other thing is the slickness of the stand. He's heavy and he has a crotch grabber. So if he's not well balanced, he's going to slip off this thing and hit the ground or a table and put a sizable ding into it, is my thinking, because he is heavy and he's pointy in some places. So you have to be careful with that. So this is very slick, and you have to watch the balance of how you pose him to make sure he doesn't slip off this thing. The other thing is he comes with only two hands, which is strange. I've never had a recent figure that I can remember in a long, long time. I mean, I have to go back to dragon figures to remember figures that only came with two hands. But he only has two hands. He has an open hand, left hand, and a gripping hand, right hand, but the grip is not very tight. So you really have to be careful with how you put the smaller sword into his hand. Otherwise, it's going to fall out. I think it was pretty much designed to hold this larger sword. That's my 2 cents anyway. And it's strange. At least a third hand with a smaller grip that could hold this sword would have been perfect, actually. The cape, it's soft to the touch. It's not like a shower curtain, even though it does look a little glossy. It's soft to the touch. It has wire on the side so you can pose it. And it has a hood. That is so cool. It's just really thin. It doesn't spread out and give them more substance, I guess, is a good way to put it. So the slick stand, the heaviness of the figure, the narrow cape, and the fact that he has only two hands are kind of drawbacks to this figure. But he is cool looking. So that makes up for a lot of things. And he didn't cost an arm and a leg. That makes up for a lot of things too. So we'll pause now, get him on a turn tray so you can see him from different angles. So here he is, Final Fantasy, part of that game, Clive Rosfield, and we'll go around and have you see him from different angles. You notice that I've got him as balanced as I possibly can get him so he doesn't fall off the crotch stand. I may change the crotch stand to a waist wrapper just to be extra cautious because I don't want him flying around the place. So yeah, there you go. Now we'll pause and get some tighter shots from here on up so you can see more details. I think you can see some more details now. You can see the sword behind him. That's pretty cool. There's some stitching on his pants that are pretty cool as well. And there are some designs on his armor, not just upper armor, but lower armor you can't see right now, but pretty cool as well. And lots of details, just tiny details that stand out, like the pointy pieces of armor on his fingers and so forth. Very cool looking. So we'll go around and hopefully you can take more in. Starting to see that tattoo on the side of his face, but you'll see that more clearly with the close-up of his head sculpt. And that's quite a big sword. And again, it weighs a ton. All right. So we'll pause now and get a really good tight close-up of his face. I turned his head in the opposite direction so you can get a better look at his tattoo on his left cheek. But let's first go over here. And then back this way. I think that's the symbol on the box, actually, now that I see it. If you remember, that symbol was white. All right. There you go. Here's one final look at Clive Rosfield, Final Fantasy. I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.